What is the Fed doing? Are we going in a housing crisis or crash? The housing market has experienced in the past 3 years basically a recession. Redfin just came out with an article talking about how there is 500,000 more sellers than there are buyers. Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez, where we talk everything real estate. For this show, we're going to talk about, are we going in a housing crisis or crash? Well, that depends where you're buying and selling. Redfin just came out with an article talking about how there is 500,000 more sellers than there are buyers nationally. So a very interesting article. Take a look. I have it up on the screen, and you can read it and look at it yourself, and you tell me what you think. Also, Alto's research. Once again, you can look at it up on the screen. They came out with their weekly numbers as far as sales, and it's showing that there's 32% higher inventory this year than there was last year, and we're hitting almost 800,000 active homes still available for sale, just under the 2019 numbers, where we would consider 2019 a normal market before COVID, before the pandemic, all that kind of thing. 2019, more normal market. We are just about 100,000 homes shy of that number, and we may hit numbers by the end of the year of 2019. So with a more normal market, more inventory, we're going to see how the market shakes out. Affordability is starting to get a little bit better as well. We just came out with numbers as far as incomes. Incomes year over year are going up, and they're about 3.8%. The CPI number, the Consumer Price Index, one of the gauges for inflation, that came in at 2.4. So incomes 3.8, inflation 2.4. So people are starting to make a little bit more money than inflation. We have to see how the inflation numbers come out, but they are trending lower and lower. So the lower that goes, and we can stabilize and keep the appreciation on incomes, is 3.5%, 3.8, 4%. That's going to have affordability a little bit better. Also, appreciation. Zillow came out with their forecast for 2025, and they're looking not that houses are going to appreciate and go higher. They're talking about having a drop in values by 1.4%. Then you also have other outlets like HousingWire. They're predicting appreciation to be 3.5%. So a bunch of people, a bunch of smart people in the room type of people are talking about how appreciation will go up or will go down a little bit. Once again, real estate is local, depending on where you're at. And if you are looking in an area like Florida, Texas, Arizona, well, prices will 100% go down, whereas if you're in the Northeast, prices will go up or stay flat. So once again, real estate is local. It depends on where you're going. But the good news is, with appreciations slowing to going down, incomes going up, we're looking at affordability and inflation going down. Affordability is starting to get a little bit better, and if we can continue that trend, well, guess what? More people will be able to jump into the market, because affordability 100% has been one of the biggest complaints that people have been talking about for the last several years, with housing prices just going up so high so quickly. The next subject is the Fed. What is the Fed doing? Well, the Fed has a dual mandate: keep inflation low and keep employment high. Well, inflation has been coming down, and it's been trending down for the past 4 months. So hopefully that will continue to happen. The employment numbers have softened a little bit. So the market hasn't been as strong for jobs. So that's softened a little bit. So hopefully the Feds will get off off of their hands and will start cutting rates, because the experts are talking about if we can get rates in between the high fives, like 5.7 to 6.25, and we can maintain interest rates in that range, we're talking about anywhere between 500,000 to a million more sales. Now, what does that mean to an average person? Well, there's generally two sides to a sell. There's a buyer and there's a seller. There's generally two agents, a buyer's agent, a seller's agent. So we're talking about anywhere between a million to up to 2 million more sides, which would really, really help the housing market, because the housing market has experienced in the past 3 years basically a recession. And that's due to many factors, but high interest rates is one of the big culprits. And will the Fed start cutting rates? When will they start cutting? Everybody's talking about maybe in September they will start cutting. So hopefully that will happen. We will see. Also, take a look up on the screen. We have the most affordable cities in the country. And Philadelphia is ranked number 6 in the top 20. So Philadelphia still is a city where people live. Housing prices are reasonable compared to other places like New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., where the housing costs are so much higher. So it's still a livable city, an affordable city where people can still buy. Number six in the country for cities and affordability. But they were just some of the items that I wanted to cover on just some updates of what's going on in the market. The big thing is inventory. Everybody is talking about inventory. Are we going to have a housing crash? Also, affordability starting to get a little bit better. So we will see how everything transpires. Hopefully, things will continue trending in the right direction, and we'll get more people into homes. Well, that's the Real Estate Show with Pat Lopez. Be sure to follow the show